Let's laugh at Dave Rubin together now. As a nice way of rounding off 2020. This is basically like our little New Year's Eve special. Because in case you guys haven't noticed, it's literally going to be like fucking 2021 in like 3 days. But yeah, let's get this started.
Kathy Ann, she's a filmmaker. She said Pence needs to stop mansplaining, dominating, and gaslighting the women tonight. There's a lot there. You got my feelings on the mansplaining part of it, but the gaslighting is when, in effect, it's a phrase that sort of was born online because it's the idea that you go sort of so over the top with your response to somebody that it burns down the whole house. So instead of making like a cogent point, if you're arguing with...
The funny part about this one is that he's literally making that up off the top of his head. And the person who made this video has the actual definition of gaslighting right here. He doesn't even know what gaslighting means. It's literally like when someone will like invalidate your picture of reality. It's like when an abuser will say, "Oh, I didn't do that. You're crazy. You imagined that." When really they did do the thing that you're talking about. It's that kind of thing. Bird of Prey director where, Bree? What? So yeah, Dave Rubin doesn't even know what gaslighting means. I saw this when it came out. It was not this video, but this sort of gaffe, or if you even want to call it a gaffe. Dave Rubin is like, he's not like Joe Biden, where he doesn't like he literally can't do any better than his slurred speech and stupid statements. He's literally just a dumbass who gets paid to be stupid online. Paid more money than I could ever make talking about fucking actual theory and shit. Because, you know, the Koch brothers.
With somebody, instead of making like just a sensible point, you gaslight them, meaning you just say something.
No, I don't think you can't give him that much credit, Happy Puritan in the chat. It's literally just the fact that he's too dumb to know, in my opinion.
So crazy or so over the top that you've just destroyed the whole thing. Does that seem like what quiet Mike Pence, who barely moves when he speaks and is respectful and nice and actually looked at her,
David, my man, you probably count as some kind of progressive. I don't know what you're trying to prove here. Unless you've gone full Nazbol gang. Since the last time we've had you on this stream.
Did that seem like he was gaslighting? I don't think so, Kathy. All right.
What is this one going to be?
Think about it this way. These people that say, okay, you can have 8-month abortions. Doesn't matter why you want an 8-month abortion, you can have an 8-month abortion. Well, now, generally, those are the people who also will tell you that they're for gay people. Now, when science is able to actually identify the sexuality of a child, and now a Christian conservative...
Wait, what?
Forget Christian...
You hear him say like a sentence and it's just, what the fuck are you talking about? Also, the extra gross part of this one is Dave Rubin is gay.
Conservative. And anyone says, I found out that I'm 8 months pregnant and my child is gay, but I don't want a gay child. I should be allowed to have an abortion. The lefty's going to say yes. I don't know. They're going to have to pick. Am I for gay people or am I for abortion? So you have to...
What? That's such a... Okay, hold on. We need to, like... If we want to seriously debunk this... If we want to actually seriously debunk this, we have to go into the fact that science hasn't found a gay gene yet. Unless I'm incorrect about this. Like, sexuality is not genetically determinable. As far as I'm aware. And even if even if there was like some kind of finding or some kind of argument for that, I would want to argue against that because I think that sexuality is just ultimately a fluid concept. So this hypothetical that he's sort of invented to try to own the libs doesn't even really make sense in reality. Also, the flip side of this is that, yeah, a principled abortion advocate would say, yes, whoever chooses to can have the procedure, because abortion activists and like feminist activists are literally just trying to make it legal and protected in the law and trying to make it so that that right isn't constantly under assault by legislators and judges in the fucking political system. So it's like, who cares, dude? Like he has to twist these arguments to try to find like some kind of own when he's not really owning anyone.
Confront them with these ethical dilemmas, and usually you'll watch their heads explode because they're not that good at thinking these things through.
Yeah, we're the ones who aren't good at
I dare make a pro-Trump comment. I don't know if I'm allowed.
Will certainly be censored by the Ministry of Truth on the internet.
Somebody's
Oh no.
not going to be happy about this.
The most censored people who literally just get richer and richer as they speak, yeah.
But in many ways, when I was rereading it, I kept thinking, man, what they needed was a Trump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what was Trump, or what is Trump? He just sort of broke through all of this.
He's talking about 1984 and saying that they needed Trump.
If you're talking about how do you break the duopoly, how do you break the false choices, how do you break political correctness, all of these things, who has been the greatest breaker of those things?
Yes, 1984, well-known critique of political correctness.
Trump, so it's like, in a weird way, if the book had ended and there suddenly was this person who was just willing to do it for some very bizarre reason, and perhaps he was orange and had weird hair, like then I guess you see some hope, but you don't get the orange.
I hate to.
Okay. Let's see. Happy birthday, Dave. Keep doing what you're doing. Love your show. Will you go on Joe Rogan's podcast? And will you have Libertarian presidential VP candidate on your show before the election? Will I go on Rogan's podcast?
He didn't even say the name of the candidate there.
I asked him, and our PR people asked him about a bajillion times to go on for my book. We did not get a response as far as I know, so I don't know what happened there. It's a little weird for me to say that publicly. I don't know what happened.
Dave Rubin didn't get invited back on JRE. Rogan is done with Dave. He literally called him a grifter, too. I don't know if we could find that clip, but Joe Rogan literally, like, sees through Dave Rubin's shit now. It's pretty awesome.
Dave, you're Jewish.
Yeah.
I feel, as I was listening to you for the first time, I feel kind of like I bet a lot of Jews felt in Germany, where you're like, but that's so crazy. They'd never do that. And you look back now and go, all of the signs were there. They were telling you what they were going to do. How did you miss it? Am I crazy for thinking that?
Wait, what is Glenn Beck talking about?
You know, it's one of those things where you start thinking it and you go, oh, could we really be there? And that's part of why it's so hard to think about it in a clear way. Could we really be there? And I actually think the answer is yes. If these people were to get the institutional power, they will do all of the things that they purport Trump to believe in and to do that he never does.
I don't know what the fuck kind of argument that is. I have no clue.
This next
So much for the tolerant left.
question is perhaps more insulting to you, but it's also meant to be an insult to me. I'll read it and explain what it means. And so I apologize for this comment, Dave. I think it's a shitty comment, but here we go.
Should I take a drink? I could do a spit take.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Should I have it in my mouth?
Yeah, here
They're
we go.
calling him a sodomite on this guy's podcast.
Please don't pull a Baron, he means Bishop Baron, and fail to at least hint at a conversion, especially due to him being a sodomite. And so let me say why I think that's a shitty thing to say.
Are you a sodomite?
Yeah, no. I love that
did not know
you've
I
been
was
in the hot
talking
seat for
about
so long now that this stuff doesn't bother you at all. It's like,
Well,
yeah,
I suspect this person in their own belief system is probably a sinner, right?
Yep.
Like I don't, as long as this person is not doing something to try to legislate my life, or as long as you're not
The
doing
guy literally calls himself Mr. Theo Pop. What do you think the Theo stands for? I don't think it's our Discord friend. It's...
something to try to legislate my life, well, then you're entitled to your opinions. What you may or may not think about my sexuality or something.
What show is that? I have no idea. Pints with Aquinas is the name of the show.
Doesn't really mean
Man's calling himself Aquinas.
that much to me. I mean that with all due
especially
respect.
if you say it like that.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, all right.
It's like
So
someone comes up to you in the
think
street and
something-
pokes their tongue out and runs away. You're like, not sure what to do with this, you know? Just scrolling through.
A lot of sodomite.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of anti-Semitism that I wasn't aware of until I said I was going to interview you. Like, people are like,
Yeah, Dave Rubin is Jewish as well, in case you didn't pick up on that.
yeah, there's some
Well,
there's
you
some assholes on the internet. Life is more about legislation. We want you to go to heaven. All right, good. I'm glad. I'm sure Dave's glad that you want him to go to heaven.
Yeah, show us this phone. This old.
is Samsung makes it. I visited that company in Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Samsung.
is fucking gold. Yes.
And it's ringing right now.
It is. I see. Hello? Hey, Cannon, where are you? Oh, you didn't have a game today?
The awkward laugh.
I got a list. You got a doubleheader this coming Saturday.
Looks at the camera.
How did you do? All right, Ken, when am I going to see you? Tonight I'm tied up.
He literally ignores him.
Tomorrow I got to do that. How about Thursday? How about Friday? Okay, I'll be there. I love you, Cannon. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. What? What? No, what?
He literally doesn't give a fuck. He could not care less about what Dave Rubin's fucking show is doing. He's literally just taking a call from his son. And if you find like the full interview, this literally goes on for about 10 minutes of him just talking on the phone, and Dave Rubin is just sitting here. Like
Today? That's great. The Dodgers.
blatantly disrespects him. Totally does not care. And apparently, Dave Rubin looked up to Larry King as well, which is like the sad part of this.
Bye. Well, folks, the Dodgers got Mookie Betts.
But this Trump win, it's a pushback on big tech. It's a pushback on mainstream media. Like all of you people who have consistently gotten everything wrong, you did it again. You got it wrong again. And you losers. And now I'm going to do this will be a little bit of a patting myself on my own back. You losers at the LinkedIn Project, like you people who clearly can't maintain an erection so that you then decide that you have to spend your life just being against one thing, this orange man. It's like, you guys got to go away now. And Chris Hayes, that little dork on MSNBC, Trump and the right, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. But that doesn't mean we can't mock you guys or at least ignore you guys. Like all of you people who've gotten everything wrong. Bill Kristol, you've gotten everything wrong. David Frum, you've gotten everything wrong. You guys got to go away now. But all of these people who just got everything wrong, who have refused to see the world as it is and could only see the world as they wanted it to be. It's like, no. And the pollsters, you guys got everything wrong. How is it? I am one guy. I sit here. My producer, Michael, is in the room. It's a small room. It's about, 12 feet by 12 feet. I got my dog at my feet. I got Michael here, and we write out a couple things, and then I do this show. And for some reason, what I've been able to do, makes a lot more sense to a lot more people than the nonsense that's coming out of mainstream media.
And then Biden won the election. Oh, this is good too. This is funny.
Well, if we're going to say trust the scientists, which is a silly notion, right? There's a lot of evil scientists out there. There's a lot of bad guy scientists out there. Have you ever seen a science fiction movie? I mean, not every scientist is right about everything. And
everything is movies with Dave Rubin. He knows about Transformers and G.I. Joe and mad scientist movies. That's his politics are formed around films that he watches. They're made for kids.
Wait, what happens in science? You're not going to believe this, guys. There are often discoveries that then get debunked by things after that as we get finer.
Oh, the scientific process itself is why we shouldn't do science. That's such a good argument, Dave. I'm thoroughly owned.
Instruments and more information and the rest of it. Science is often in the business of debunking science. That's the beautiful thing, So...
Does he just know his viewers are dumb? Why are you assuming intelligence on the part of Dave Rubin? He's dumb. That's...
Does he end up signing bills that increase the debt and the rest of it? Yeah, because the whole system is out of whack. There's no money left, and yet we keep, more stimulus. We have literally no money.
How much debt are we in right now?
Trillions and trillions of dollars, and it's going up. I think we just signed another $2.2 trillion stimulus. It's like the number... How do we get out? Well, I hate
Are we
to tell
ever
you.
going to get out of this? Or is it just you go bankrupt and you say start again?
Can I whisper how we get out? I mean, it's called war. The sad truth is it seems to me that we're in an almost unavoidable conflict with China now. They have so much of our debt.
You know what's funny, though? Is that when Rubin worked at TYT, he wasn't just a pop culture guy. He did politics as well, and he was... he had some yikesy ass takes. Like, he kind of left right after he said this, terrible take about a bombing that happened in Gaza where he sided with the Israeli military, basically. And then he left shortly after that. And the debate that Cenk had with Sam Harris about Islam, which was literally 3 hours long. And, if you watch that shit, you literally just want to scream at Cenk and be like, dude, make a good argument, please. Sam Harris is not that hard to defeat. Literally just fucking make a good argument, please. And he never does. And it lasts 3 hours where they just, do circles. But, yeah. This is funny, too, because he's like, oh, they have so much of our debt. A conflict is inevitable. Oh, China.
That we know we can never pay it back. There's nothing, short of some sci-fi, we find a planet somewhere that has unobtainium, like in Avatar, and we mine it and sell it to the...
everything is about movies, because, that's the level of, Dave Rubin is a Marvel film, basically. That's his equivalent. In the political landscape, Dave Rubin is the equivalent of a Marvel film. It fits quite nicely within the ideology of the status quo. It isn't really saying much deep. It doesn't have much depth or substance. And it's basically all manufactured, grifty bullshit. He's basically a Marvel movie. That's... If you get my drift here. Whereas, if you're a Slavoj Žižek enjoyer like myself, that's fine cuisine or high art film in this case, in this sort of movie metaphor. I guess Žižek is the Godfather and Dave Rubin is Captain Marvel. That's
Chinese here, although we would get in a war over who's going to get there first. There are debtors, and we've got more weapons than our debtors right now. That's I mean, talk about a mafia move. It's like we sort of know, we can keep borrowing from them because we got all the nukes, and they've got some stuff, but we've got bases everywhere. It's a seriously depressing, like unpleasant thing to think.
They
But
got more people. Can't they just create more weapons and have more
they got
money?
more people.
This guy might be even dumber than Dave, though. Let's be honest.
Suspect they're probably cloning people too. That's a whole other thing. I mean, we know we can clone dogs.
Look at this goofball. We know we can clone dogs.
And
crazy.
you can
Ears
clone
and
sheep, or we can all that kind of stuff. And it's like, if we can clone dogs right now, which there's commercial cloning of dogs happening right now.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about with that, but yeah, Dave, a dumb guy. Not good. Very bad for you. As Trump would say. And, he'll probably be saying even more stupid shit as the world gets even worse throughout 2021. So just tune in to the Madeline 13 broadcast and channel, and we will provide you with better content.